Reinitiated. And we're good to go, Darius?
Yep.
Okay, we're back from recess. Thank you for that.
Could I make a comment?
You certainly may.
Thank you, yes. Just so everyone understands, this is a part of an ongoing discussion. No firm decisions, no firm promises, no firm nothing. Just so we know, this is a, Scott, didn't have my speaker thing on. This is a part of an ongoing process.
Okay.
Nothing that we talk about today, nothing that no numbers, no comments, nothing, are not set in stone. That will happen at the end of the process. So we're getting input, we'll get more input, and then we'll make a decision about what we do with the budget. So. Jason.
Adam? Yeah.
Just so you know, I'm not speaking for the sheriff or the captain or anything. I wanted to speak to you guys and everybody in the room. So some of us were here back in '07 when this all went down before. At the end of the day, I'm not saying anything hurtful to anybody. We all care about all our jobs and all our employees and all our people. The reason you guys see faces in the room that you don't normally see is because some of us have deputies that are on chopping blocks and we're trying to get an answer for them. So just real brief, that being said, the thing went down, the levy went down in May, and we're now sitting here on June 5th, and this is the first meeting. So I would just say to everybody, department heads, you folks, everybody sit down, crunch your numbers, get everything done, because we got people, we got lives, we got people that I care about in every department here that are waiting for an answer. And we have to have a balanced budget by July 1st. So that's not even giving people 30 days. I understand, hold on, Bob. I understand that we're gonna give people 30 days, but we need to give these people an answer. Because, I mean, we've been sitting here stressed out since, myself, I got a guy that's trying to build a house and this, that, and that's fine. Every department has these things. I'm not trying to rag on any department. We're all part of the same team, but let's get it done. That's all I got.
Thank you, Sergeant.
Can I just comment on one thing?
Please do.
So the budget will be adopted as if the levy did pass because of publication requirements according to Oregon budget law.
Mm-hmm.
The revised budget will not be approved until after July 1st as a supplemental budget.
And there's a pretty broad close window on that. I mean, we have a little while past July 1st. It's not.
You can do a supplemental budget any time within
Right.
the fiscal year.
Right.
But you have to be within that fiscal year.
Right. Okay.
So we can do it anytime after July 1st is when the final will be adopted.
Correct. So it's not on July 1st or by July 1st. It's
After.
sometime after July 1st within the fiscal year. So we've got plenty of time to work this out.
It's not about plenty of time. I mean, we're gonna get it. I believe that everybody wants to get this done as soon as possible. I just wanted to make it clear that to follow Oregon budget law, we have to adopt the budget as if the levy passed.
Yeah.
So I know everybody really wants to get this done as soon as possible.
Yeah.
So we can do a supplemental budget from July 1st through June 30th next year. We want to do it as soon as possible so we give everybody adequate notice if
Right.
we are to terminate filled positions.
I understand what you're saying. What I'm telling you is your employees don't understand what you're saying.
Yeah, okay.
And that's what the reason it's so full in here. How many raise your hand? The employees don't know what you're saying, right? Nobody wants to raise their hand, but the reason we're here is because my employee's out there on the road right now, not knowing if he's gonna have a job come July 1st.
I got you, yeah.
All right.
Sheriff wants to say something.
So, Sheriff?
I've already told you before, just to supplement that, I think the concern is.
Yep.
Sorry, Sheriff. I've already mentioned it before, so I hesitated in getting up, but I think the concern is that we have people flying out, and we have a minimum of our staffing for the jail, so even if you said magically we have the money to keep the jail going, I'd be concerned too many are already jump and ship, the longer it lasts, the more it's done.
Right.
Understandably.
Right, understood.
Fair.
Okay, thank you. I do have Darius pointed out to me that we needed to look at the chat column here. And somebody online called Concerned Citizen is saying, why is the question being asked about departments no longer providing any services when it was recommended that they reduce costs and not close the whole department? And then they also ask, why isn't it being considered that we combine more departments so that support staff can be shared and it can reduce overhead? So reasonable questions, and for my own part, I would respond and say that we are talking, we haven't talked about any departments no longer providing any services. Only one individual in the room has said that, I believe. And so that's really not part of the discussion. And the discussion has been, in fact, how departments reduce costs rather than closing the whole department. And secondly, combining more departments so that support staff can be shared. I don't know. There may be an application for that concept. I'm not thinking of it right offhand. But as if there's a department head in the room who could springboard something off of that and conceive how some aspect of your support staff could possibly be combined with another department, that would be a very welcome thing to talk about.
We've done a lot of that over the years.
Mm-hmm.
And so there comes a point when there's not much more you can do.
Right.
But we used to have a separate department between roads and solid waste to two different departments. Today, they are one department, Public Works. Within the finance office, we've done a lot of consolidation. We've put HR and safety under county council, made one department out of what used to be a couple, three. Where else have we done it? There's more than that.
Well, we got treasurer, tax, and budget officer, et cetera now.
All
So-
in one person.
And
Yeah.
I would just like to point out also that there are many different functions within the general fund and within the county as a whole. So we can do what we can, but a lot of times the departments are so drastically different that it is very difficult to share duties just because of the amount of work that's involved in different things, so it's difficult to combine.
Sure. Okay, so all that stipulated, if there's any further distillation or condensation of department tasks that anybody could conceive of, please speak up with it specifically, because we would love to hear it. Let's move on through some other departmental addresses. Darius, would you like to address what you might be able to do in IT?
I'd like to do this all at one time, after they've had time to think about it. I don't know that everyone's prepared to do it today, but
Okay, well, Darius had specifically
Okay.
said that he was, so we'll just let him go ahead with that. And if there's another department head that would like to have a go and have a say, please raise your hand and let me know. Otherwise, we'll be happy to let you go on
Okay.
the next meeting. Okay.
So you guys asked us to present a status quo budget and a 15% budget. I can do sorry, I'm doing double duty.
Yeah, I know, you're walking and chewing gum at the same time.
Okay, so I looked through my numbers this morning. My 15% reduction came to $116,000. I have I've been reducing for the 8 of the 9 years that I've been here. Every year I've been trying to reduce. I'm not able to reduce some costs like insurance and employee costs. Those just go up. My contract costs go up no matter what I do, but I've been trying as much as I can over the years to reduce costs. So I've got the 116, which is basically a lot of money that I kind of put away in case something breaks. And then if nothing breaks, I typically just return those funds at the end of the fiscal year. A lot of those cuts, if something happens now, we're going to have to scramble to figure out how we're going to recover that. The one that was left in there was capital outlay, and I used that to buy servers, storage, network gear, some of the bigger electronic equipment. The good news is 3 years ago I purchased storage, 2 years ago I purchased servers, and this year I'm buying network gear. So we're actually in pretty good shape life cycle wise for the next couple of years.
Right.
The one additional reduction that I can do is the capital outlay, which is $42,846. So what I can do without having to cut any employees is $158,846. If we need to go deeper than that, it's going to be staff. And right now we are pretty busy. I would like to say that I split my time IT-wise between Coos Health and Wellness and the county. And so half of my salary is covered by Coos Health and Wellness,
Right.
which helps to reduce our overall salary expense to the county and the general fund.
Right,
Can
okay,
you add
thank
travel
you.
time to that, get a little more out of them?
I'm sorry?
Can you add travel time to that and get a little more out of them?
You know what, my staff and I usually travel on our own dime. We drive our own cars. We typically don't charge for mileage, or if somebody calls and says, I need you to go to the veterans office in the mall, my staff doesn't typically turn in a mileage voucher.
Better yet.
Yeah, so my staff is dedicated, they're hardworking. We will do what we have to do, but we've done a lot over 8 years to
Yeah.
try to keep the costs down and try to provide excellent service, not just to the staff, but also the county in general.
So how many staff do you have, including you?
So I'm a half a FTE because
Yeah.
of this situation with Coos Health and Wellness.
Yeah.
I pick up 35% of my administration person, and then I have 2 full-time employees.
So 3.
It's 2.8.
If you cover the whole county, health and wellness and everything, there's 3 of you.
Then it would be 3.35.
Yeah. For how many employees? 300 and some. Each one having a computer,
Yeah,
besides the servers and all the other
and
stuff.
I can tell you that when you look at organizations like the hospital, the college, the clinics, my staff are paid less by and large than the same positions at those organizations.
And they have more personnel.
Not always, but I can tell you we're not. I like to tell the people that I interview, you don't come to the county to get rich. You come here because
Right.
you want to work for a good organization. You want to have a good team.
Yeah,
You
Yep.
want to make a difference for the public.
yeah,
And that's why we're here.
okay.
That's every department.
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
Yeah.
And besides all that, he's a highly valued Fair Board member on his spare time.
Yep.
And he's fixed the audio issues in this room, so that's,
Go on.
Well, and at the same time, I've made them worse, so.
oh, well,
I'm trying. It's tough. This is a tough room.
yes, in more ways than one.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Darius.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Appreciate that. Scott, can you hang on, because Kyla had her hand up first.
As far as making,
Wait until you get there.
thanks.
You're welcome.
So as far as the budget goes, maintenance, we do have a couple little options. When we did our 15% budget cut, essentially it was cutting our custodians. We have 2 custodian staff that come in
Right.
and work overnight. One of them is hired under Barrett's, and I did this because I wasn't sure what was gonna happen with the levy and if we were gonna be here. I didn't wanna promise full-time employment, and then be here. So we do have 2 custodians. I don't know what that's gonna look like for keeping all of our buildings clean. We have the Owens Building, we have Juvenile, we have Courthouse, we have Parks, Roads, and Forestry. We also clean Community Corrections. That's gonna be a bigger task on the maintenance team if we decide to go that cut. We also have 1 maintenance worker that I've been working with Barrett's to fill. that is also another position that if we come down to it, I went through a temp agency for this reason. I think we're locked in for 500 hours. So, I mean, it would take us a little bit into this next fiscal year, but that is also a possibility. It's going to cut our maintenance team down. We would be down to 2 full-time maintenance workers, 1 maintenance supervisor, and then me doing the admin end for maintenance, and then a little bit on IT.
Okay.
So, and there's also, you know, I can cut some of our supplies, our minor R&I. That's kind of a guess as far as what's gonna happen as far as breaking HVAC systems, sewer lines. But if we do cut custodians and that 1 maintenance position that we have coming through the temp agency, that is gonna put a lot on our maintenance team. And I know you guys have some very tough decisions, but we are helping with animal control, and then along with all of our other buildings, and then helping with the fairgrounds, and then sometimes we even help with parks department.
Right.
So we would have to reevaluate what manpower we have available, but those are options.
Mm-hmm. With all those options employed, what did you have a revised number?
So our 15% cut, this is keeping the 3rd full-time maintenance worker. I think we had cut some of our supplies, our minor R&I, and then cutting the custodians is where I think our total budget was $772,378 for the year, and that is employees too.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I just am going off of what we had for our 15% cut, but the other option would be, and I would have to get with finance to see if we cut our other maintenance worker, what that number would be.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Kyle. Scott, can you come up to the microphone, please? It's so that it goes on the recording and everybody online can hear it and all that.
Scott Brewster, Bandon. So I think a huge issue here is the way that the measure was written. Obviously, everybody in this room knows that there was a shortfall, but nobody in the public understands the shortfall. And all of us in the public thought that this was just an excess for the sheriff to get 50 more beds and for them to hire 2 more DAs, if the DA is still in here, which sounds like excess to us. But when you sit here and listen to all these people, obviously it should have been worded, the county is in a serious crisis and there is a shortfall. We are going to be $4 million in the hole. We need you guys to come together. For coming together and supporting this, we are in turn going to add the 50 beds. I guarantee if it was written that way, this measure would have passed. But it wasn't. It was written that we are going to get 50 more beds and 2 DAs, which sounds like excess to the people in the county, and that's why everybody voted no on it.
So that's valuable looking back.
Yeah.
So do you have input, a suggestion for how to now pivot from that and make something productive out of it?
I do, and there's obviously, I don't know why it was even written that way in the first place, because it seems deceptive. And when we talk about deceit online and people writing things that aren't true, we felt deceived in the first place. So it really feels hard to try to work with people where you're feeling like they're not even giving you the real story in the beginning. And this entire thing was written around the sheriff's office. So I think that's another reason why Castleman was saying, Chris was saying, that this is focused to the sheriff. I agree with Chris. Sheriff's Department should be funded first, 100%. And yeah, there's many, many ways to get around this, but I think that initial crafting in the spirit, this measure could have been done better. And I think the people aren't dumb. Tell them what's going on. We will work together and we will work with you guys if we know what's going on. But we kind of feel lied to when we get it in that way, and then just sit here and listen to all these stories. Obviously, all these people are valuable. We needed to be told that in the first place, that we were going to be having to cut every single agency. So, and I've gone on and tried to listen to YouTubes and all that, and no offense to anybody, but sometimes the audio's,
Yeah,
it's,
I know.
the last one that was on was double feedbacking, might even be somebody online, might not even be somebody here, I have no idea. But it's extremely difficult to listen to those, so night meetings for stuff like this with all these people in town halls would be great.
Okay.
So, thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Chris Tuff. I live here in Coquille. I just wanted to kind of piggyback off what Scott was saying. I think the information that the public is not getting is why we're not making progress in the county right now. If we did a better job at getting more of the people that you're asking money from and votes from, then maybe not have it at this time of day when people are at work. You know, you're asking the county, the people in the county, to pay a levy, not giving all the information, the correct information or the right information that people understand, and then having a meeting like this where, you know, luckily I have the day off. I can come in and hear it all, and hear it in its entirety. I mean, it's crazy to me that in this room, every seat isn't filled in here, and there ain't a line out the door. We're talking about cutting our police department, and the effects that we're already seeing in our county with the lack of what these guys are getting is insane to me. So I implore you guys to do a better job of getting information out there to the people that you're asking money from, so that we can see our county thrive. And that falls on the shoulders of elected officials to do a better job of getting that information out there. Say, hey, this is what's really going on. This is what we need, and this is why. I mean, that would make sense to me, to be able to come in here at night after I get off of work, bring my wife in here and hear all this and make an informed decision on our vote. Because I would have voted possibly different hearing all of this. And I'm sure a lot of the people I know in Coos County would have done the same.
Okay. All right. We are just 4 minutes from noon. Is there? What I'm seeing here is we've got a beginning on some revised numbers that we have, you know, some options to apply. A bulk of that falls on the sheriff's department, which is, of course, I think the last thing that any of us wants to see happen. So with that, I'm gearing up to shut this meeting down, move it to our next one, take into account all the comments that have been shared. And we have just a couple of more minutes. I see your hand up. If there's anybody else that would like to tender a comment before we close this meeting, please prepare yourself for that. Chris?
Really just a question, can we have a meeting in Coos Bay and North Bend in the evening? Can we, with the three of you here, can we figure that out?
Yeah, we can do that. I think that's a constructive and positive idea. Thank you for that. One of the challenges to doing evening meetings, if it's a work session like this, we have to have it recorded. It can take extra staff time, but we can figure it out. So yeah, I will say that yes, we will be doing that.
Let's look into it.
Yeah. So
until we know for sure we can.
Is there anybody else that would like to tender a comment before we close this one?
Robert Baker, Myrtle Point, also one of the deputies here. My career started in Josephine County in 2009. I was one of the people that got laid off in 2011 when their levy failed. Not a good sight to see a bunch of people get released from jail at once and they're all happy with their bags and going out and doing all the stuff that they did to get there in the first place. This room's got a lot of smart people, smarter than me. guys need to figure out a way to somehow do this without cutting the sheriff's office, these other departments. You know, everybody says it was how the information got out there. Gas prices go up, what do? We have to pay for it no matter what. Cost of doing business, sheriff's office, all these other places, keeps going up. Federal took away our O&C money, which used to fund us. Puts the burden on the taxpayers. Nobody wants to pay taxes. I was willing to pay an extra $200, $300 a year. That's me personally. You know, you think about it, break it down. How many of you go out and buy a cup of coffee once a week? That's going to make up the difference. But people are just too, hate to say it, ignorant to understand that this money is needed for the county, not just for us, for the entire county to make it better for everybody. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, Deputy. I appreciate that. I'll add to that. I know that there are comments that mill around in the rumor mill and so forth about corruption in county government, payoffs, other kinds of horrible accusations that are completely untrue, that damage the credibility of what we at the county try to do, and certainly contributed to the demise of the public safety levy.
Yep.
So, and I mean, I hear about it with regularity, completely false allegations that are thrown out there irresponsibly that really responsibility needs to be brought to bear for.
Yep.
Okay.
And like for myself, here in the last year, apparently I'm getting rich by using my position as the county tax collector or as the county assessor. I use my position to get rich, which is malfeasance, which is actually the people who did that could be taken to court.
Yeah. Well, Commissioner
Even if
Maine,
they apologize, they still did damage.
yeah, well, apparently, Commissioner Maine, I got paid off and am now corrupt, and my wife and I remodeled our house with building materials that were gifted to us.
Yeah, same
Is that where
kind of
that money
BS.
went?
Well, honey, did you know we remodeled our house? Because I didn't know that. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Anyway,
But that was all out there in the last year, which influences people about whether the county has any funds or not to fund a levy. That influences folks on how they would look at the county.
so anybody listening, I encourage you, if you have any concerns or accusations to make, please deal with them directly, like a real human being. All right. Anything else? Thank you all for being here. We are adjourned.